Good Tuesday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for April the 23rd. Today we are reading together the 49th Psalm, Psalm 49. The title given by the translators is Misplaced Trust in Wealth. We are told that this is for the choir director, a psalm of the sons of Korah. I think this psalm would best be categorized as a wisdom psalm, which means that within this psalm, it's going to be more directed toward teaching men about important things than it necessarily is praising God for one thing or another. There certainly will be times whenever God is exalted and magnified, but really, again, these wisdom psalms are used for teaching. We might even compare these in some ways to various parables that Jesus used during his ministry, but certainly a lot of teaching here, and specifically for this particular psalm, it should sound very familiar to us because we talked about this kind of idea about misplacing trust in riches and wealth on Sunday, whenever we study together from Mark chapter 10 and verses 13 through 31 about entering into the kingdom and how if you trust in riches, you're never going to get into the kingdom. Well, here's kind of the same idea within the psalm that if you trust in riches, it's not going to do anything for you in the afterlife. It's not going to do anything for you in the grave. So let's see what the psalmist has to say. Again, this is a psalm of the sons of Korah. Let's see what they have been meditating upon and the lessons they want to teach us from these meditations. Psalm 49, verse number 1. Hear this, all you peoples. Listen, all who inhabit the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth speaks wisdom. My heart's meditation brings understanding. I turn my ear to a proverb. I explain my riddle with a lyre. Why should I fear in times of trouble? The iniquity of my foes surrounds me. They trust in their wealth and boast of their abundant riches. Yet these cannot redeem a person or pay his ransom to God, since the price of redeeming him is too costly. One should forever stop trying, so that he may live forever and not see the pit. For one can see that the wise die. The foolish and stupid also pass away. Then they leave their wealth to others. Their graves are their permanent homes, their dwellings from generation to generation, though they have named estates after themselves. But despite his assets, mankind will not last. He is like the animals that perish. This is the way of those who are arrogant and of their followers who approve of their words. Selah. Like sheep, they are headed to Sheol. Death will shepherd them. The upright will rule over them in the morning, and their form will waste away in Sheol, far from their lofty abode. But God will redeem me from the power of Sheol, for he will take me. Selah. Do not be afraid when a person gets rich, when the wealth of his house increases, for when he dies, he will take nothing at all. His wealth will not follow him down, though he blesses himself during his lifetime, and you are acclaimed when you do well for yourself. He will go to the generation of his ancestors. They will never see the light. Mankind with his assets, but without understanding, is like the animals that perish. Psalm number 49 again, a psalm that teaches us the wisdom of avoiding putting trust in wealth. The psalm begins with a request that all people listen to the writing of this psalm, whether they are low or high, whether they are important or unimportant, whether they are rich, whether they are poor. Everyone needs to listen up. Listen, the author says, to the wisdom that comes from my mouth. This is the meditation of my heart, and it brings understanding. This seems to be something that the author has been thinking about extensively. This is something that's been on his mind. This is something he's been meditating upon. This is something he's been mulling over. This is something he is trying to come to have a grasp about. And so now he wants to speak about this. He wants to share the wisdom that he has developed with others. I turn my ear to a proverb. The proverb, again, this wise teaching. I explain my riddle with a lyre. So it begins at verse number 5, and he seems to uh, putting verse 5 together with verse 16, it seems to be that it is the accumulation of wealth by others that could put someone in a position where they are afraid. Maybe the wrong people have wealth. And unfortunately, just the plain reality is that wealth often leads to power and influence. And what happens whenever those who have evil intentions, or those who are not pure of heart, or those who do not love God or love others, what happens whenever they have all the power? They have all the wealth, they have all the influence. Well, bad things can happen. So here the author is saying, why should I fear in times such as that? I mean, sure, the iniquity of foes surrounds me, but here's their problem. The problem is they trust in their wealth. They trust in their wealth. They boast in their abundant riches. But here's the thing about that. It does nothing for them in the long run. Verse number 7, these cannot redeem a person or pay his ransom to God, since the price of redeeming him is too costly. One should forever stop trying, so that he may live forever and not see the pit. You cannot buy your way to redemption from sin or death. How many people have we run across? How many people do we see in the world today who think that, well, I've got enough money to do anything with? I can solve any problem that I have with money. But the reality is that simply is not the case. There's one thing that no one has ever bought themselves out of, and that is death. No one has ever bought life from death. No one has ever bought redemption from sin. That simply does not happen. Verse number 10, for one can see that the wise die. Okay, the wise die. But so do the foolish and the stupid. So do the foolish and the stupid. Everybody dies. Again, just as he called for the low and the high, the rich and the poor to listen, because they all need to hear this. Here's why. We all need to hear this, because we all die. But for those who are rich, they're going to leave their wealth to others. What good is wealth in the afterlife? Their graves are now their permanent home. This is going to be their dwelling from generation to generation, though they have named estates after themselves. But despite his assets, mankind will not last. He is like the animal that perishes. Owning land doesn't help in death, because land is not where we will dwell past death. It is the grave. The grave is now the place of residence. So what do possessions really do for us? What do assets do for us? What is the accumulation of wealth or land or any kind of asset? What does it do for us? It does absolutely nothing. Just like animals perish, so do people. Verse 13, this is the way of those who are arrogant and of their followers who approve of their words. Like sheep, they are headed to Sheol. Death will shepherd them. This is, as one person said, this is a sad parody of Psalm 23, where Psalm 23 speaks about the Lord of Yahweh, how it speaks of Yahweh being our shepherd, and we shall know what he leads us to green pastures. The exact opposite is true here. Death shepherds them, not to green pastures, but death shepherds them to the grave. Their form will waste away in Sheol, far from their lofty abode. But the author here contrasts that reality of the arrogant, of the rich, of those who trust in wealth, those who boast in abundant blessings, those who are foolish, those who are stupid, accumulating things for themselves that will not matter in the long run. In contrast to them, the author says, but God will redeem me from the power of Sheol, for he will take me. Because I trust in God and not in riches, the author has confidence even while facing death. Again, the reminder of verse 16, to not be afraid when a person gets rich, when the wealth of his house increases. For here's the reality is that when he dies, he will take nothing at all. His wealth will not follow him down, though he blesses himself during his lifetime, and you are acclaimed when you do well for yourself. He will go to his generation. They will never see the light. Again, mankind with his assets, but without understanding, is like animals that perish. It doesn't benefit them whatsoever. This man lived his life accumulating assets, but he's not able to take them with him whenever death comes. They're only useful to him for a short time. Though he has blessed himself for a long time, it doesn't matter, because here's the truth. Here's the wisdom, the absolute wisdom that the author of this psalm, or the authors of the psalm, whether it be a son or the sons of Korah who are authoring this particular psalm. Here's the important truth. The most important blessings come from God. And maybe the blessings that come from God are or is the accumulation of assets in some way. Maybe it is wealth, maybe it is land. But notice what it said in verse 20. Mankind with his assets. It's not just mankind with his assets is like animals that perish, but here's the key. Mankind with his assets but without understanding is like the animals that perish. If we are blessed to accumulate some sort of wealth, some great degree of possessions, if we understand how to use those, if we understand how to be proper stewards of those, and if we give God glory for those things, and if we use them purely as tools and not as the source of trust or not the root of confidence, if we can use those things well, then we will live well and be blessed well. But if they do become the things that we trust in, if they do become the things that we boast in, if they do become the things that we have confidence in, if we lack understanding, if we don't lack the proper perspective that this psalm gives to us here in Psalm 49, then it's only going to lead to trouble. Just like the animals perish, so will we. After all, what makes us any different than animals without wisdom? If we don't use the wisdom that God so graciously supplies to us. Don't trust in riches. Don't boast in possessions. Don't be foolish. Don't be stupid. Don't be arrogant. Know that the greatest blessings come from God, and that through the wisdom he supplies, we can enjoy so many of the blessings that he gives us in this life. But recognizing again and valuing him and his blessings above all else. If you have any questions here about Psalm 49, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. And I appreciate you take some time reading along with me on this Tuesday. Hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. And we will be back at it again tomorrow, reading together Psalm number 50, which will get us through the first third of the Psalter. There are 150 Psalms, so we'll be through the first 50 after tomorrow. I want to say there is something coming up on our calendar. Let's see. What was it? Let's see. Oh, I feel bad now. I missed this. Yesterday was actually Gayleen's birthday, so very happy birthday to Gayleen. Hope you had a great day yesterday, and hope Harrison's feeling better after not being able to get out on Sunday. Was it Sunday or was it Wednesday? Now I'm missing. It might have been Wednesday actually. My days unfortunately run together a little bit. But happy birthday, Gayleen. Hope you had a great birthday yesterday. We'll look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow for our for this reading again at tomorrow morning. We'll be in Psalm 50, and of course tomorrow night we'll be gathering for a Bible study. But again, I hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow for our read of Psalm number 50, God as Judge. I believe the first psalm we have of Asaph. Looking forward to reading that with you then. Take care and God bless.